My buttons weren't situated, so it wasn't as smooth of a transition as I was hoping for. I just made a video. Spent the majority of my day doing it. It's a, what is that, coaching ranking? So I decided to take all of the coaches that Nebraska will play against next year. Let me make sure I'm centered. All of the coaches that Nebraska will play against next year and rank them from 12 to number 1, just to give you an idea of who the best ones are, a little bit of their backgrounds, my overall thoughts on them. I thought it was a good video. It's something that can give you an idea about the schedule, but without teasing the schedule too much, because there's way too much to learn still. If you really think about it, we've got a second signing day coming up in January. The transfer portal is still wide open, and there are plenty of teams who are going to have guys enter after these bowl games. So, yeah, I thought this was a good video to tease it, but we'll talk about the schedule in the future more once we have more info. So this isn't the only schedule preview video, I promise you that. I only mentioned that I made that video because I want to make sure if you got the notification for this, that you didn't miss the notification for that video. Because, you know, sometimes people complain that I do a live stream and a video on the same day, and then it jams things up. Let me turn off my TV so I'm not focused on the Texas Tech game. I did take Texas Tech plus 3.5, and then I took them again at plus 4 tonight. So go Tech. I've been on Ole Miss all year, but in these last couple weeks, or the last couple weeks of the season at least, I started fading Ole Miss hard. I don't know. There's something about the Lane Kiffin energy that just died off for me. Whatever. Anyway, what's happening, guys? I'm going to get to chat in just a second. You know, I made a couple videos from Oklahoma, or while I was in Oklahoma, right before Christmas, because, I'm trying to get center again, because it was like breaking news. We had Jeff Sims commit to Nebraska, and I never got to talk to you guys about that. If I would have been home, we would have done a live stream for sure. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit. And then I did another video. What was it on? Oh, Dylan Raiola. And I gave you my thoughts on that. My thoughts have changed since then, so we can talk about that tonight, because I know people 100% are going to ask me. What's crazy is the most common question I've gotten in the last, 12 days, 10 days, is anything pertaining to Dylan Raiola. I get them every single day. It's crazy. My Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook, people text me. Yeah, it's always about Dylan Raiola. And I love it because I get excited to think about it. And it's, you know, it was one of those things that I thought was just a distant fantasy that could never happen. And somehow it's become a reality that we're in play for him. So anyway, something we'll talk about. Colton Feast isn't coming back to Nebraska. I guess we can talk about that really quickly. People have been asking me about that too. I know very little. So Colton Feast was one of the starting defensive tackles this year. I think he played the second most snaps out of all the D tackles. Anyway, here's the quote. It was one of the toughest decisions of my life to walk away from playing football at Nebraska, but it was time for me to move on. Thanks for everything, Husker Nation. First off, I totally understand why he left. He's, 5 years in college? 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. So he's 5 years in. That's a long time to be in college. I couldn't even make it through 2 years. I had to drop out. Okay, so 5 years. Then you have to go back for a 6th year. You're not guaranteed a starting spot, obviously. He's not going to play in the NFL, and he knows it. So he's like, do I want to go and learn this new system and deal with these new coaches and all that goes into being a football player and enrolling in more classes? It's a lot of freaking work. Or, let's say he's 23 years old. I'm 23. I'm going to start my life. So he's going to start selling insurance, I think it was. Yeah, selling insurance. I don't know where. I don't know all the cities in Nebraska that aren't Omaha, Lincoln, and like 10 others, but it's one of those smaller cities that's outside of Omaha, I think. So anyway, he's going to sell insurance. Congrats to Colton for getting a job. I mean, that's a big step, right? He's got a big boy job now. Oh, one more thing that happened that I saw on Twitter. A.J. Allen is confirmed coming back in 2023, which makes me very happy because this guy's one of the most promising recruits of the class last year. He exploded this season. He played up until Oklahoma, and then after Oklahoma, he got hurt. He didn't get to play again, unfortunately. I don't know if it was an ACL. I can't remember because all these injuries come, and it's a lot of stuff for me to remember and memorize. So forgive me. But anyway, A.J. Allen will be back. He, in my opinion, is a top 2 running back on this team with Anthony Grant. What's interesting about all these players that come in as true freshmen and play right away, you make your biggest jump from your freshman year to your sophomore year. I don't think that Anthony Grant was that much better than A.J. Allen. I mean, there was definitely a gap, but how much of a jump can Anthony Grant make versus how much of a jump can A.J. Allen make, right? Who's the true number one? And that's a position battle that will be very interesting to watch. Now, AJ's obviously coming off of an injury. He's not going to be as strong or as quick out the gate, I would assume, in spring practice. Grant's got momentum and everything else, so I'd have to assume he'll win the job. But you never know with a guy like A.J. Allen, who he has a lot of good tools. Things could change real quick. So something to think about. We got a couple new members. Mitch, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. Let's see if I can slide this. How do I move that? If I click this, there we go. Now it's more in frame. Mitch, thank you for becoming a member. Anytime people become a member, it makes it so I can respond to their comments easier, because when I get so many comments on these videos now, which I wasn't getting as many before, I have to be selective about what I respond to. You guys know, some of my videos get 200 plus comments on them, and some of them are spam or trolling or whatever, so I'm trying to be selective. But what's easier now is I go to the top, I hit members only, and then I just see all the members comments, and I just respond to all those real quick when I'm doing whatever I'm doing during the day. And yeah, it makes all of us happy, and it's just a good situation. So anyway, thank you guys for being members. William, thank you for the $10 super chat. New thoughts on Dylan. Okay, people want to know the percentage chance, and I'm not Dylan. I don't know Dylan. I never met him before. But you know, I got these gut feelings, and I get people who message me all the time, different stuff. One thing that got messaged to me, what, 10 days ago? Or no, like 7 days ago. I'm not even sure if I put it into a video. Actually, I can't remember all the videos. It's been high flying, right? I was in Oklahoma, then I came back to LA. I went to Orange County to hang out with my mom and sister. I came back to LA. Tomorrow I leave to Oklahoma again. So it's just so many things going on in my life. It's hard to remember what I've posted, what I've said, and what I haven't. But basically, a highly rated Nebraska player has a family member who I talked to on Twitter. And he had reached out to me and told me that Dylan contacted this recruit and said, hey, if we go to Nebraska, or if you go to Nebraska, or what's your interest in Nebraska, and if we go to Nebraska, we should, connect, kind of thing. There was more to it, but it doesn't matter. The point is this. I heard that. Then I heard a couple other things from players' parents, which I'm not going to say anything, because it's just, I can't be talking about people's things they tell me. It's just I don't want them to not tell me stuff anymore. The point is, I had multiple stories now that make me believe, these conversations that are being had with certain players and with the certain player we're all concerned about in Dylan Raiola makes me think, man, maybe there's a chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I just think there's a lot better chance than I initially thought. So I might have said in my Dylan Raiola video that I thought it was like a 40% chance. I think it's like a 60 or a 70. I think the way Nebraska, because, I did say it in a video. Dylan isn't Matt Rule's wait, what was it? There was a quote I used. It was something about basically saying that Matt Rule is in position to win Dylan Raiola. He's not in a position to lose him. Dylan's not looking for a reason to leave. I think my quote was something like that. It was a lot funner, or a lot more fun and cuter in my video, but whatever. I can't remember everything I said. The point is, I think there's a really good chance. I'm really hopeful for it. If Nebraska has a halfway decent season this year, and let's define halfway decent. Maybe a halfway decent for you is a halfway decent for, or isn't a halfway decent for me. But we'll try to, negate the discrepancy. I think a halfway decent season would be 6 wins and a bowl win. That would be 7-5, 7-6. So a 7-6 season would be a major improvement from what we've seen these last 3 years, right? You'd be able to justify 5 losses because Nebraska plays in the Big Ten, and there are a lot of really good coaches in there. I talked about those in the video tonight, right? If you can justify the 5 losses, but you can still see improvement, if the quarterback doesn't get mauled like he did last year, Casey just took an absolute beating. If the quarterback doesn't get mauled, you would see enough progress to say, hey, next year maybe we're a 9-win team. And if we bring in a guy who's, a 5-star quarterback, maybe we're a 10, 11-win team? I mean, not next year, but 2 years from there, because Dylan, in my opinion, wouldn't start right away. But you get the point. I think it's a 7-6 season would make me feel a lot more comfortable in the chances to land him. Anyway, long-winded answer, but I'm just trying to give you my thoughts. Alex says, you need a corn craze hoodie line for dogs. My bulldog needs a corn craze hoodie. It's a good idea. I've never had anyone tell me they want to put corn craze merch on the dogs. That's interesting. Does anyone have an update on Mickey? The last thing I saw is that his house in Lincoln is being sold. So my guess is what'll happen there. He's got his court dates, and I don't know when they are. Maybe, 3 months from now. He's gonna have to deal with all that court stuff. Who knows how long that'll take. After all that's done, let's say things blow over. It's gonna take at least another year for people to forget. So he's not gonna be able to work in the college football arena, at least, for at least a year and a half, in my opinion. Also, he's older. He's he's like a 55-year-old guy. I'm not sure how many teams are going to want him when he's, 58 and 2 or 3 years removed. Whereas if you're a younger guy, you can afford to have some issues in your 40s and then come back in your early 50s. I don't know. Interesting. We'll see. Trace wants to go over all of our big offers today. I can look through Twitter and see what offers were posted up for sure. I haven't even been paying attention. I did see that there was like a 5-star receiver, a 4-star receiver. Let's see. Larry says your posts are like crack candy for us to keep our fix. I like that. Well, I'm glad you guys like the content. I mean, I'm trying to post up everything I can. We're coming into the off season now. So like I said, I leave for Oklahoma tomorrow. I'm going to go to hang out with my dad and just watch the bowl games. And then he and I are going to come back to LA. He's got to go do some work stuff here. And then when I'm back in LA, I've got a photo shoot I got to do for a person I consult for. And then the national championship's here. And I'm going to go to the national championship with my dad. So that's happening. And then after that, I'm just making as much content as possible. I'm going to have to leave for like 5 days in January to go to Aruba. That's a photo shoot thing I got to do. That's the same girl I consult for. So my life's getting back to normal, non-football season normal, I guess. But I'm still going to be cranking as much content as possible. I'll at least do, 2 videos a week in January? 3 videos a week? We'll get to 10 videos, maybe 12 next month. So we still got stuff coming, which is good. Anyway. Larry says, in all seriousness, not sure anyone on the D-line leaving would be a loss. Yeah, it's a loss because we don't have depth. It's a loss because we don't have competition. You need the competition. You need the big bodies. Nebraska lost Jordan Riley and Casey, what's his name? Casey something. Casey Rogers. Both of those guys have been playing tonight in Georgia's bowl game. If they're both good enough for Dan Lanning, they would have been good enough for Nebraska. And I think the same goes for a guy like Colton Feist. You want to make sure you get as many bodies as you can in there to rotate. So I think it's important. And I think it's a loss. Even though I understand the idea that we want to flush out as many guys as possible to bring in the new energy. You don't want guys with losing habits. I get all of that. But I think it's really important you have some fundamental and foundational pieces who can help. Thoughts on Garrett Nelson going to the draft? I talked about that in the video I just released. But I'll give you my quick thoughts. I wish he could, I wish that the game loved him more. That was the initial thought I said. I wish that he would have been a little bit more productive so that he could get drafted, because I'm not sure he'll get drafted. I think he's a free agent. JoJo Domann was a free agent, and I think JoJo Domann had a better 2021 than Garrett had 2021 or 2022. I think he'll make a team no matter what. He's a super hard worker. He's got the natural talent, the natural ability. He's fast. He's big. Yeah, I think he'll make a team. For sure, a special teams player. If Luke Gifford could be a special teams player and make it as a linebacker, I'm sure Garrett has a chance. But yeah, I don't know about the draft spot. Do I think he should have come back to boost his draft stock? Probably wouldn't have helped. If he came back, he would likely have a similar season that he had this year. Would that do anything for him? He's already done that twice. Is it going to help him? Probably not. So it made sense for him to leave. I mean, he had done everything he could. He had, I think, 12 sacks here, 160-something tackles in his career. I don't know. He did what he could. So it sucks that we're losing him because he's a player who all of us love, who I supported, obviously. But yeah, at some point you got to move on. So he's been there for 4 years. I get it. Okay, I'm checking back through chat, guys. Hang on. So thinking about the D-line, Nebraska brought in some freshmen. Prince Will, they brought in. Kai Wallen, who's the junior college guy, I think he's a defensive end. He could play right away. Jamari Butler, Chief Borders, those guys are both defensive ends or outside linebackers. The interior D-line desperately needs help. So you got Stephon Wynn, who's a decent-sized body, but they need a really good Big Ten defensive tackle, and I don't know what they're going to do about that. They also need a tight end. Nebraska's going to return Thomas Fidone, A.J. Rollins, James Carney. That's it. So out of the guys who've played. Oh, Borkacher. Borkacher's played. I don't think Carney played. I think he played in the spring game. Anyway, Borkacher's got the most experience. Thomas Fidone has the most upside. A.J. Rollins, I think, has potential. But they need another tight end, a guy who's proven. I heard someone say that Nebraska might target the North Texas tight end from the portal. I don't know his name. Let's check. North Texas tight end. Jake Roberts. Okay, Jake Roberts on 3. So this guy's a potential target. They think he's going to SMU or Arkansas, but maybe Nebraska has a chance. I don't know. Either way, there are a few holes Nebraska's still got to fill. So those will all be addressed, I think, in the coming weeks. Nebraska's going to announce a couple new coaches soon by the 3rd. So that's within the next 5 days. And then we'll see some more guys enter the portal, and we'll see some more targets on the recruiting trail before signing day. So, yep, that's what's going on. Galactus says, just watch the coach ranking. Seeing the competition makes you worry. If we can hang with the top 5 or 6 guys, we had a serious contender. Big Ten coaching is pretty legit. What's crazy is the Big Ten coaching was so meh before. If you go back, who was the Purdue coach? Darrell Hazel. And then Wisconsin had, Illinois had Lovie Smith. Indiana pre-Tom Allen, I don't even know who it was. Who was the coach at Rutgers? David Ash? Anyway, Big Ten coaching has taken a massive step up. Matt Rule was a massive step up. He was a less risky guy. He's a guy who's proven it. And because the Big Ten is so much deeper on coaches, it shows the commitment as a conference, and it shows that they want to get into that playoff position because that 12 teams expanding in 2 years. It's interesting because how much money is now flowing in. That huge media deal, the $1 billion media deal, is allowing these schools like a Purdue or an Indiana or a Rutgers or whoever who doesn't have as much cash flow, doesn't have as many boosters, to go out and get these big name guys. So it's pretty incredible where things are going for the Big Ten, and yeah, I'm excited for it. But like you said, you're going to have to really beat out these top guys if you want to be a player at all in the Big Ten, because otherwise you're just a 6-win team. You're going to have to go out and beat Ferentz. You're going to have to go out and beat Fitz and Fleck. Those are just the basic ones. Then you got to go out and beat Harbaugh, Mel Tucker, Ryan Day, who else? Brett Bielema. You got to beat some of the best guys in the country. It's not easy being a Big Ten coach, but if you're a guy who wants to be the best at your craft, like Rule does, then you come to the Big Ten where you get to go against the best guys in the country. So, anyway, it's gonna be fun. No matter what, that's the thing, right? Even if we lose games, at least we're competing against the best in the nation. The thing I hated the most last year, Nebraska was down bad, and there was a game, I think week 2, when Nebraska had to play against North Dakota. I was not excited. I can tell you, you were not excited. Part of it was because we were coming off a letdown against Northwestern, so we were all depressed. But playing games against teams like North Dakota aren't fun. What was the most fun we had? I can tell you, playing against Ohio State last year when the season was over, but it was exciting because we got to try and, take down a top 5 team. What else was fun? Michigan 2021 coming to Lincoln was amazing. Oklahoma going to that game in 2021 on the road, amazing. You want to play against the best teams. So, yeah, nothing more I can ask for than getting better coaches in the conference to make things more fun. More shit to talk about. It's good for me. It's good for you. Promise you that. Ned says he's drinking that corn crazed Kool-Aid. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Last year I had a lot of reason to be excited. Going into this offseason, the Kool-Aid's going to be slowing down a little bit. Last year I thought, Scott Frost has had his issues. He's got some new coaches coming in. You've got new players from the portal. This year, there's excitement and it's going to be fun, but I'm not sipping Kool-Aid the same way where I'm like, oh, we're winning 8 games. I'm just telling you now, it feels like a 5-6 win season, 7 with a bowl win. That's how it feels. It's going to be a system reset. So there's, got to temper expectations. Nintendo says, do we still take transfer QB Hornsby? At Nebraska, he would not be transfer QB Hornsby. He would be transfer wide receiver Hornsby. And Nebraska would love to have him. I don't think he'll come. I think he's going to go somewhere like UNLV because Barry Odom got hired there. Barry Odom was the defensive coordinator at Arkansas, who I think he was at Missouri before that. Anyway, doesn't matter. Barry Odom's now at UNLV as the head coach, and he is going to try to get Malik Hornsby to go with him from Arkansas. I think another school who was on the radar was Houston, but both of those schools would allow him to play QB. Nebraska's going to say, hey, we've got 2 QB1s right now. You're a receiver. And yeah, that's just the situation. So I'm going to guess Hornsby is a no-go. That's my guess, predicting it. Andrew says he feels good about the O-line after the Ben Scott news. Okay, so the offensive line, if we look at the starting lineup, you've got center Ben Scott, who was a top 20 center graded by PFF last year. Huge pickup, okay? Because Nebraska has, is it Ethan Piper? Yeah. I think Ethan Piper was a starter this year. So Ben Scott now becomes the starter. Ethan Piper goes to backup. Left guard, you have Nuri Nuili, who comes back, who was a really good offensive lineman in 2021 and then had to sit out this year because of his PED stuff. So you get him back, and he's tough. At left tackle, we have Teddy Prohaska. Injury issues have been a problem for him. Hopefully the shoulder and the knee are all healed now, and he'll be good to go. On the right side, I am going to predict right now, this is someone who I predicted could take over this year in my preseason depth chart, Henry Latovsky for right guard. That's my guess. Ethan Piper has a lot of experience. Maybe they play him there too, but I'm going to say Latovsky. Then you've got the right tackle. Benhart versus Corcoran for that right tackle spot. Going to be a battle. My guess is it would be Corcoran, but last year Benhart had some decent grades. He made a lot of improvement. I don't know how that'll shake out. Either way, I'm excited to see how it goes because it just feels like the entire line is going to be stronger. We're going to have 3 offensive linemen this year that did not play last year. Nuri Nuili, Ben Scott, Teddy Prohaska. Those 3 guys are a huge benefit, a huge boost to the struggles we saw recently. So I'm excited. Offensive line, I have a lot of hope. You should too. Judy, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a member, and thank you for the $2. And USMC Sully, thank you for being a member. Andrew says Purdue's next head coach is not proven. Well, he's not proven as a head coach. That's a fact. However, he is proven as they come as a defensive coordinator. The number 1 defense at one point last year, where did Illinois finish? Let's see. Top, my typing's a mess. Top defenses, NCAA 2022. Here we go. Where did Illinois finish? Ooh! Illinois finished as the number 2 defense nationally last year. He's not a proven head coach, but he can build a defense. Because Illinois, when did they ever have a good defense before? Not before he got there. So I think we're going to see some special things from Purdue. They're going to be, they're going to be the same offense that they had before. They're going to be high flying, receivers going everywhere. They'll run the ball a little bit. But the main thing now is going to be a lot more emphasis on their tackling, building strong up front, developing those DBs. Purdue's going to be a problem. Even if he's not a great coach as a head, or even if he's not great as a head coach, it doesn't matter. He's going to have at least one of the units pretty solid. Korn says, I got a question. I'm starting my own channel thanks to you. Can you give me help with editing and not fumbling on your words? So on editing, I don't know how to give you help other than telling you that I use Premiere Pro. I cut, I try to pause. So if I'm talking like this, I'll get my point out and then I'll take a break. Then I'll start talking again. And at that point, I make my cut, piece it together, and then it flows a little bit smoother than me just trying to ramble on. Break. Then I keep talking and then I splice them. Anyway, that's the best way I can help you with editing. Not fumbling on your words. I have a teleprompter. So right here, you can't see it, but there's a teleprompter over my camera. I put my notes in my phone right here on the teleprompter app, and it tells me keywords I want to use, or not keywords. It tells me like key topics to follow, and then it has bullet points. And then as I want to talk about something, I have those bullet points in front of me, and I can talk about them. And then, like I said, I'll talk about a point for a minute or 2 minutes, and then I pause, piece it together, move on. Best advice I can give you, bro. Took me a while to learn it, though. I can tell you that. Making YouTube videos has been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. Transitioning from, because I've always been in media, transitioning from production and helping people to develop and build their brands and make their YouTube videos and edit their content and all that, transitioning from that to actually being on the camera, coming up with topics. I mean, you guys understand. This is the hardest thing in the world to do. Just try it. Put your iPhone in front of you like this and record yourself. And try to come up with a 15-minute video like I have. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of work. It's a nightmare. That's why they call it work, though. So anyway, it's been fun. It's been really fun. Pinky says, thoughts on Josh Fleeks. We watched his highlights in my last live stream I did. He's a stud. He can play receiver. He can play running back. I don't know how fast he is, but he can move. So I'm excited to see where they plug him in at. I'm sure they'll try to use him as a utility player, kind of like a Wandale. He can play both positions. He'll understand the offense, obviously, and be able to be an interchangeable piece. I don't know what the deal was under Aranda, because after, let's see his stats. After Matt Rule left, he didn't get much playing time. Josh Fleeks, Baylor, stats. Here's the breakdown. I always use Sports Reference. If anyone's curious where I get my stats, it's always Sports Reference. Okay. As a freshman at Baylor, this was Matt Rule's first year, I think, or second year, whatever it was. Played in 12 games. He had 14 catches. He had 9 carries. Then Matt Rule's last year, this was their big season. 25 catches, 260 yards, 9 carries again. And then under Aranda, he didn't play nearly as much. His production went down every single year. It was almost like Aranda just didn't see a fit for him. I don't know. I don't want to say it's alarming, but it definitely does raise some questions and some red flags. It's like, okay, well, was he not good enough? Why weren't they using him? He had already shown some progress. Sorry. A lot of Josh Fleeks questions. I hope I answered those. Wise Pine says the Big Ten West had 3 of the top 5 defenses. Yeah, Casey only got to play against one of them. I don't know. He didn't get to play against Illinois. He didn't get to play against Minnesota. He got to play against Wisconsin. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Casey next year. I'm telling you, it's going to be a quarterback battle. There have been some people, there are 2 sides right now. Some people are hard on Jeff Sims is going to be the starter. Some are hard on Casey's going to be the starter. I said it before, I have no horse in the race. I don't care who the starter is. I want them both to succeed. I want them both to be great. I want one of them to lead Nebraska to a lot of wins. But man, both of those guys have a unique set of skills. Matt Rule has, I don't want to call it loyalty, but Matt Rule has a preference to go with the guy who he's been watching more film on, which is, why am I blanking on his name again? Jeff Sims. Sorry, a lot of things going on. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see which direction they go, especially with Casey coming off a shoulder surgery. But Casey's the type of guy who can come off an injury and play right away. That guy's a freak. And he's so smart. That's the thing. When you get a guy as smart as Casey, it's like, how do you keep him off the field? He can do so much. He knows so much about the offense. He's a guy you can rely on and trust. You know he's not going to make any dumb mental errors. And he's an older guy. He's 26 or 25. A lot of value in that. Anyway. FW says, was Scott Frost the main problem in the 2022 season? Yeah, what happened was figured out, Scott Frost's culture that he built was the wrong culture. And it wasn't about Frost this season, because any coach who coached this season would be a problem. There was no way you could fix the mess that had been building up for years, right? I had thought, my perception was, Scott Frost has the wrong assistants helping him. It's holding the team back. Everyone needs to be flushed and let him restart with a new staff. He never did it. When he finally did get a bunch of new pieces in, I had hope, and I thought, okay, maybe now we'll see the Scott Frost fresh offense and fresh ideas with a new culture in the building, and that didn't happen. So Frost was a problem leading up to the season. During the season, you couldn't pinpoint one thing because it was already over. The season was done. We were set up for failure. So, my opinion, Scott Frost now lives in Arizona. So, yeah. Barrett says, what do you think Nebraska's biggest need is that they can find in the portal? Well, let's go through their biggest needs for this offseason. Quarterback, because you didn't know what was going to happen with Casey, and Nebraska currently does not have a serviceable backup quarterback. So they filled the need at quarterback. 2, they needed at least one offensive lineman. The dream would be 2. They filled one need because Ben Scott's a starting offensive lineman right away. So hopefully they can get one more O-lineman, a guard or a tackle. Just to add to the competition, even if he doesn't win the job. Because they also lost Kevin Williams Jr. So anyway, another need, receiver. Nebraska's true number 1 going into the offseason is Marcus Washington. But let's check the stats. Stats, Nebraska 2022, bring you in. These are all terrible. Nebraska stats. Bear with me. No, I want stats, not class. Okay. True receivers last year. Trey Palmer, gone. Travis Vokalek, tight end, gone. Alante Brown will be back. Oliver Martin will be gone. Chance will be gone. You get Brody back. Isaiah gone. Omar gone. Wyatt Lever's back. But Wyatt only had 2 catches on the year. You only get Marcus Washington 1. You get Alante Brown 2. Brody Belt 3. There are only 3 receivers returning who had more than 5 catches last season. Nebraska has a major need at receiver. Just a fact. Marcus Washington is going to be the number 1 as of now. And Marcus Washington has a lot of promise. He did really good things at Texas, and now he's had an even better season at Nebraska. Here's what he did at Texas. He had, a total of 25 catches for 366 yards, and then at Nebraska, 31 for 471. His issue was drops. There were a lot of drops from Marcus Washington, and I was surprised by that. But he's really athletic. He's quick, so there's hope there. Anyway, moving on from receiver, Nebraska needs a proven tight end. They don't have one. They've got Thomas Fidone, who has hope, but Thomas Fidone has hope. That's the problem. He has promise, but he hasn't done anything yet, unfortunately. He will be back. Another tight end. What else is there on defense? Corners look good. Safeties I feel good about. Linebackers I feel good about. Defensive line. It's a defensive tackle. So, yeah, that's it. That's it. I don't know. You guys tell me. Is there a position I'm missing? What's the most important position to fill? Chat, let me know in the comments below, or in the chat box. The most important position that Nebraska had to fill this offseason. They could have filled it already, or they still need to fill it. What was the number 1 most important position? Let me know. This is something I did not know. Daniel says Marcus Washington finished as the number 12 wide receiver on PFF. I'm surprised because I thought he had more drops, and I thought that would hurt his PFF ranking. But if he had that high of a ranking on there, that's freaking awesome. Husker fan says he thinks Benhart should move to right guard and Corcoran plays right tackle. Isn't Benhart a big dude? How would Benhart play right guard? Bryce Benhart. Hang on. I'm checking his height because I don't remember. Bryce Benhart height. Benhart's 6'8". I don't know. 6'8" sounds like a big guard to me. Adam Carricker. What about Adam Carricker? He should be a guy we get in the portal. You know, if we could get Adam Carricker to come back, Nebraska, I think him at whatever age he is, 40, would be, he might be one of the best options Nebraska had on the defensive line. I'm not going to lie, at 40 years old. That's the position we're in right now. He was a stud when he played. That guy was a beast. Okay. Tight end, offensive tackle, D-line. We need a kicker. Mega overlooked. Okay, kicker I feel good about. Timmy Bleekrod had a good season. He could not hit him from 45 plus. But now you've got Tristan Alvano. He hits him from deep. He did it multiple times in Memorial Stadium already. I like the odds that he could be the full-time starter next year. There's a good chance that could happen. So we'll have to see how that goes. What's interesting about the kickers is every year Nebraska gets like the top guy from JUCO, or they get a top guy from high school who walks on. And they just don't work out. Who was it? Chase Contreras was like one of the top guys from JUCO. I had a lot of hope for him. I think he hit the portal. Charlie Weinrich, I don't think he's on the team anymore. Maybe I'm misquoting. But anyway, Charlie Weinrich was supposed to be a superstar who came from Kansas and trained with Harrison Butker. Don't know what happened with him. Now you've got Alvano, and there's so much hype around Alvano. All the highlights, all the talk from Mickey Joseph offering him to Matt Rule doubling down. At what point do we finally get one of these guys in who ends up being the Drew Brown or a superstar we've needed for so long? You're right, though. You're right. Kicker's important. NH says boosters are the problem. What's wrong with the boosters? The boosters are funneling money in. Everyone's on the offensive line and the defensive line. Line on both sides. Linebacker. Place kicker, edge rusher, defensive tackle. Mario says that he talked to Dylan a week ago. Mario's the team manager for the football team, if you guys didn't know. What's up, Mario? Glad to see you here. Is it time to play Colorado yet? Happy New Year, Husker fans. Let me know in the chat. Who's going to the Colorado game? Should I go to the Colorado game? I'm trying to figure out my 2023 plan. Do I make videos from home? Do I make more vlog-style videos and go to games? I mean, I got to do a mix of the two, obviously. I was hesitant to go to Colorado because it's going to be freaking hot outside. But if people are there and, it's a vibe, it's a special moment. It might be a game I got to go to. I don't know. Let me know in the chat if you're going to Colorado for that game. That's the second game of the season. Nebraska's going to go to Minnesota week 1. They'll follow it up with Colorado. I have a good feeling Nebraska could be 1-0 going into that game. Colorado will be 0-1 going into that game because they got to play TCU, so could be interesting. Nintendo says we bring IGC back. I don't know what's going on with IGC. I got to message him because I really like him. I'm a fan of him. I think he has a great skill set. I think he could be successful in a lot of places, and I hope he lands somewhere. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to bring him back. Rocky says, will Malachi start? If you look at the receiver depth chart right now, Malachi has a great chance to play. He's got elite speed. He has elite size. Yeah, I would expect him to get a chance. He'll at least play 4 games. I don't know if he'll start, though. We'll see. Colby says, thoughts changed on Dion. My thoughts haven't changed. I have a lot of belief in Dion. I think he can be a really coach at Colorado, or a really good coach at Colorado. I love his social media strategy. I love his recruiting strategy. The only thing that's changed for me is that Dion didn't have as much of an impact in the recruiting in that first cycle as I thought he would. I thought he'd land some more big name transfers. Because he didn't, it was like, it's a little underwhelming. How are you going to turn around a team, in one season? My understanding was you have Matt Rule who's trying to build for the long term. You have Deion Sanders who's trying to build for now. And when he builds for now, he wants to win tomorrow. Right now, if you look at Colorado's recruiting class and their current roster and their coaching staff, they're going to be a decent team next year. Are they a team who's going to go out and win 8 games? If you're asking me, as of now, no. Are they a team who can beat Nebraska? Maybe, but they don't look like the team I thought they were going to be. I was under the impression Nebraska was going to roll into Colorado and get stomped out. because he's coming, and he's got Louis with him. He's got like a Louis toothbrush case, and he's got a Louis duffel bag. That's about all he brought this Louis. There's no luggage. So, I don't know. Can you win with a Louis toothbrush case? I don't see it. Dirk says, biggest position to fill was head coach. And it seems we might have finally gotten it right. It feels like we got it right. I said today, we like what he's done so far. It's been a fantastic 30 days. But we won't know shit for another 9 months, because none of this matters. What'd Scott Frost do in his first 30 days? He worked magic. He brought in Adrian Martinez, who was going to potentially go to Ohio State or Tennessee. He brought in Maurice Washington. Man, that guy was a stud. I wish he would have worked out. He brought in a bunch of guys from Florida. He brought in transfers from UCF. I mean, Scott Frost had a magic first off season. And then the season hit. Man. And then the next season hit. And then the next season hit. And just, it came to a screeching halt. You know when your brakes don't work in your car? You pull up to the stop sign, and there's a person next to you or whatever, and it's just... That's what it sounded like when Scott Frost was here. It sounded like the brakes were broken for 5 years. Gotta flush that out of my system. Want to get the brakes fixed. Nolan says we need good backups for Reimer and Henrich. You know, I think Nebraska's going to have some pretty solid backups. I'm not sure who's going to be an interior linebacker. If it's Dylan Rogers, I think Eric Field's more of an outside linebacker type of guy. It's going to be interesting to see how they move those guys around. And there are some guys who are going to build up and get some weight on them. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know how it's going to shake out. I'm excited to see it, though. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to see where guys get plugged in. Okay, people are talking about going to the Colorado game. Josh says he's going if he can get tickets. Josh, I'll tell you the best way to get tickets. Show up to the stadium on game day. About an hour before kickoff, stand outside with 2 fingers in the air and say you need 2 tickets. I can promise you, 1,000,000%, there will be at least 10 to 15 people outside with tickets for you. I do it every single year, 4 times a year, because I go to 4 games a year, and I've been doing it since I was 12 years old or younger. So it works like a charm. Tickets are the cheapest you'll ever get them. Scalpers are the way to go, because it's way too expensive to buy them on all these sites. It's a joke. And you get better seats when you're there. It's a no-brainer. Moonbot says he lives in Denver, so he will be going. That's awesome. Keegan says do not go to Boulder. Keegan, why? Boulder's legit. I mean, it looks beautiful. All the pictures, the mountains, the stadium looks nice. I think Boulder's a destination spot if you're a Nebraska fan. You got to see it once, especially because who knows how many more rivalry situations we'll get like this, where Nebraska will get to play Colorado in Colorado. When I was, how old? 4th grade? Whatever. When I was 10 years old-ish, my grandpa took me to the Nebraska-Colorado game. Was it on Thanksgiving, the day before, day after? Whatever. Around Thanksgiving, went to the Colorado-Nebraska game in Memorial Stadium. And it was a really good experience. Nebraska lost the game, unfortunately. But hey, I got to say I did it. So now I need to do it in Boulder. Roger says Colorado fans will be selling their tickets. That's a fact. That's a fact. Warsh says he's going there with Adam Carricker and getting a suite. Warsh, are you serious? Like, that sounds like a sick idea. If you are really doing that, that's awesome. If you're just making it up, I'm confused. But it sounds like a good idea if you're doing it. I didn't even know you could get suites at the Colorado game. Wear a hard hat if you go to Colorado. Their fans are known to throw things. No, I'd rather not wear a hard hat, get hit in the head, and sue somebody. That would be more fun. Or film it, get it on YouTube, and then fade a Colorado fan. Like, just absolutely annihilate one. Like, you know how fun it would be just to beat the shit out of a 19-year-old college kid who was acting up? Don't put any Nebraska stuff on your car in Colorado or they'll vandalize it. Again, that's just, it's asking for a problem. My prediction is that the future of Nebraska, or the Big Ten, will be Nebraska, Wisconsin, USC, Michigan, and Ohio State. Wisconsin for sure. Nebraska, hopefully. USC for sure with Riley. I don't know what Ohio State's future is. Honestly, I don't know what the future is. Do they have a rebuild coming? Does Ryan Day make it? If he doesn't win in the playoff and he loses again to Michigan, does he stay at Ohio State for another year? Do they go a different direction and try and get another big name coach? And then do they have a 2-year drop off? I don't know. Anything can happen. The Ohio State storyline, there's something to follow there. This game against Georgia is huge. If they can beat Georgia, then all wrongs are written off. It's all good. If they don't beat Georgia, they're right back where they were before. And Michigan's only getting better. You don't last as the head coach at Ohio State if you lose 3 times to Michigan. Matthew says he really wants to see Hartzog back. He has the nose for the ball. I can tell you right now, Hartzog will be back. He's a starter. He's not leaving. Galactus says that he was a student at UNL back in '97 and the fan base was toxic at Colorado. That just sounds like a Raiders game. I went to a Raiders game when I was 10 or 12 or 14 or somewhere in there in Oakland with my dad. He didn't want to go. He's like, no, we got to go because we got to experience it, but it's going to be a mess. And I can tell you, it was a freaking mess. Most NFL games are. Chiefs games aren't. Packers games aren't. The Rams games aren't. But, like, there's certain stadiums and it's just kind of, ugh. Raiders games in Oakland were one of those. Someone spilled their beer right next to us, all over the guy in front of us, and then another guy threw something. It was just a mess. I'm sure that could be how Colorado is. But, again, I don't know. I'm not too worried about Colorado fans. Golden Schlong is the biggest troll on our channel. He's actually the biggest fan. I've asked him before. He comments. So this is how this guy gets down. This guy is the #1 commenter on the entire channel. He comments random stuff all the time. 9, 10 comments a day about nothing. I want to send him stickers or merch for free because he's the biggest fan of the channel. He's a Colorado fan, by the way. But he won't send me his address so I can send him stickers. So just wanted to let you guys know, Golden Schlong is the #1 Corn Craze fan and supporter. He's made me more money than any of you guys have because he watches more of the videos on repeat than you ever could. He's obsessed with it. I don't know what it is. But Golden Schlong, thank you for being here. I know you're a massive fan, even though you don't want to admit it. Jim says, I remember when Nebraska took 20 to 25,000 fans to Boulder every year. Wow, that's a lot of guys going to Boulder. I'm going to guess Nebraska's going to have that many this year. There are a lot of people who have interest in this game. So my dad was like, hey, because we have like a checklist of all the stadiums we want to visit because we've just been doing it forever. He's like, one of the stadiums now that we got to go to is Colorado to see Dion. Like, that's, a special experience. And I was like, yeah, hopefully we can go for the Nebraska game. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll go for a different game. I'll go to the Nebraska game and I'll go to a different Colorado game. Because we want to do the Denver Broncos Stadium as well in that time. Anyway, I've got to assume there are a lot of Nebraska fans who have some interest in this game, and they're all going to want to go out there. It's a close drive. And a lot of Nebraska fans live in Colorado, so I think there's going to be a lot of red in that stadium. That would be my guess. Weston, thank you for the $2. You said, I lost your comment, hang on. We just need to develop what we have. That's a fact. Developing what you have doesn't win games the first year, though. That's the problem. We're not going to bring in a bunch of freshmen and have a 8 or 9 win season right away. I would love to develop what we have, but also bring in some instant contributors, kind of like we did last year, and maybe give Matt Rule a chance to win 8. It'd be fun to have hope that we can win, 8 games. Nate, thank you for becoming a member. Omaha Gloyd, thank you for the $10. Keep up the great work. Connor, yes, sir. I'm here for you. I'm here for all of you guys. All 325 of you in the chat. I'm not here for me. I can promise you that. I could be doing a lot of things right now. Could be at the gym, but I'm here because I want to hang out with you. Wow, Husker Power says he went there last time we played there, and he got his tires slashed. That is ridiculous. I would probably Uber. I would put myself in a position, then based off all the comments you guys are telling me, I would put myself in a position where I didn't have a car there. I would just Uber. If I did have a car there, I'd probably rig my car, though, up with cameras. Or what I would do is I'd just set it up you stay armed in your car, and then you're like laying down in the trunk, and then right when you hear someone walk up, you pop the trunk open, and then pop, 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 you know, something cute. Nolan says, what are your thoughts on A.J. Allen? I talked about this earlier in the video. A.J. Allen's a stud. I think he could end up being the starting running back next year. I don't know what's going to happen with the knee because it's hard to come off a knee injury. But when you go from a freshman year to a sophomore year, the jump is usually pretty significant. He showed some signs of greatness as a true freshman. We knew he had it in him. If you watch his highlights from his high school film in Louisiana, he looked like he could play right away. I remember, I told this story before. I posted up the video, the highlight video, right when he committed on Corn Crazed. And I said, hey, this guy is special. He could play right away, instant contributor. And what happened? He was an instant contributor. I think week 1 or week 0, he played right away. Everyone is saying don't show up in Husker gear if you drive in Boulder. CU fans are vicious. I have to go. Just because all of you guys are telling me that the Colorado fans are vicious, I'm worse. I'm worse. I have to go and film it. I have to wear all Nebraska gear. I have to be obnoxious at this point. I'm not an old guy. Like, I'm still active and excited, and I want to punch people, so I have to go. Ryan says the Bills Mafia is crazy. Bears fans with a beer are sloppy. Yeah, I've never been to either of those two stadiums. I want to go to the Bears, though. That would be awesome. Seattle Stadium's nice, fairly easy to get in and out of. I went to, what was it? I went to the Washington-Stanford game back in 2019. My sister lives in Seattle. So I went to that game with my friend, and it was cool. It rained and whatever. Pac-12 game, not full, whatever. The next day, the Seattle game was on. They played Denver or something. And I wanted to go, but the tickets were ridiculous. So I ended up skipping it. I went outside the stadium, and I drank at a bar out in front. But the stadium looked really cool from the outside. And I'm glad everyone is telling Golden Schlong that he's the MVP. Shout out Golden Schlong. Thank you guys for acknowledging our biggest fan, our biggest Corn Crazed fan. Golden Schlong, you're the real MVP. He's a GOAT Nebraska fan. I don't know if he's a Nebraska fan, but I can tell you this. He is a Corn Crazed diehard. He is a sick person. He's addicted. I mean, I'm addicted to Nebraska football, but this guy's addicted to watching me in my bedroom. I don't know what that says about him, but I think it says some. I'm just going to say that. FW says, could we have beaten the 2021 Michigan team? Like the 2021 Nebraska beating the 2021 Michigan? We almost did beat them. Hell yeah, we could have beaten them. Moonboss says he's got 4 season tickets to the Broncos. Damn, I might have to hit you up when I come. Maybe that's when we'll get together, Moonbot. When I come for a Broncos game, I'll have to hit you up. I've never been, but I'm definitely going to go. It's a stadium that I want to go to for sure. Let's see. Cole says it wasn't a knee injury. He broke his collarbone. That's what it was. A.J. Allen didn't hurt his knee. He broke his collarbone. It's hard, guys. It's hard for me to memorize all this stuff. I'm telling you. I broke my collarbone too. Did I ever show you guys? Here. So it's hard to tell, but yeah, there's like screws in there and stuff. Anyway, when I was like 14, we were doing a no pad practice. I think it was helmets only. And this idiot, it was a walkthrough. He picked me up, lifted me off the ground, and drove me into the ground. It was the dumbest thing of all time. Anyway, I land on my shoulder and my collarbone snaps and it protrudes like that. It breaks, I guess, in 3 pieces. So like that, and then the 3rd piece came up. Anyway, it was a nightmare to recover from. You got to be in a sling. It's like a 2-week deal. Ugh. Collarbone surgery was the worst. The other terrible surgery, shoulder surgery. I don't know what I tore. I can't remember, but I tore something up. I was out in the ocean. I was a mile out swimming like 5 years ago. Or no longer, like 8 years ago. Swimming. My shoulder pops out. I can't get it to go back in. It's just dislocated. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm out in the middle of the ocean with my friend. So he comes, like, guides me and everything. I have to swim back in. It takes me 20 minutes with one arm. Anyway, after that, my shoulder kept falling out. Like, I'd be doing stuff, playing basketball, I'd take the ball over my head and it just falls out. And then I have to sit there and try and wiggle it in. Anytime I'd play football, I'd go for a ball. Anyway, it popped out like 8 or 9 times. So finally got to the point where during COVID, I was like, I got to get this fixed. So I went to the doctor, they fixed it up. The recovery was like 6 months. I couldn't lift for 9 months. I couldn't do much of anything. I had to sleep in this sling for 6 weeks. Oh, I don't even want to think about it. Collarbone and shoulder surgery were the worst. I had 2 ACLs. Those were bad too. But I don't remember those as much because that was high school and my first year of college. But man, I could tell you right now, do not break your collarbone and do not mess up your shoulder. It is painful. I'm getting through chat, guys. There's a lot of comments. I'm backed up, I could tell. Corn Craze Army invading CU. It would be interesting. I think it'd be sick if we had a little meetup at Colorado and we were like rolling deep through around the stadium, like 20 of us. That'd be hard. Like 20 Nebraska fans, just like in a little mob. That'd be sick. If I go to the Colorado game, I'm definitely going to let you guys know so we can all link up. Jose says, maybe I won't bring my daughter then if we're preparing for a fight. You guys are hilarious. Colby says, realistically, where do you think Raiola would take Nebraska if he committed? The game is so much more about the team than it is about one person. Let's start there. Basketball is a different story. If you get one superstar on your team, they can win games. Football, not so much. With that said, if you had a quarterback like Dylan Raiola, typically in a productive offense that throws the ball around and has a weapon who can, extend drives and not turn the ball over, that's worth 3 wins. Maybe 4? 3. Let's say 3 to be safe. So Nebraska with Matt Rule is a 7-win team, 8-win team. With Dylan Raiola, potentially a 10-win team, 11-win team. I think that if Nebraska was able to land him, they would also land some really good offensive linemen. I know for a fact there's one offensive lineman who told me, who watches the channel, he told me if Dylan Raiola commits to Nebraska, he's committing immediately after. Anyway, there's some receivers who think the same way. They will commit same day. So if Dylan Raiola comes, the ripple effect it's huge. Nebraska would be an instant contender for a playoff spot because you've got 12 spots. Say the top 3 from the Big Ten get in. Nebraska's competing with Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Ohio State. I'd have to believe one of the years that Dylan was there, they'd get in. Anyway, I have a lot of hope that Nebraska would be a potential playoff contender with Dylan Raiola. So I don't know what the ceiling would be because I haven't seen any of Rule's team play yet at Nebraska, but we'll know next year. Brent says, do you think Trev talked to Craig Bull? And why wouldn't we hire him? No, I don't think so. Let's look at Craig's recent history. Craig Bull was at Nebraska a while ago, but he's older. He's like 65. Let's see. Craig Bull's 64, right? 64. Okay. Coach at Nebraska from 95 to 2002. Was let go with Frank Solich. Anyway, he's been at Wyoming for the last 7 years, 8 years. Did good at North Dakota State, and then you've got Wyoming. That's decent success. It's hard to complain about that. Is Craig Bull ready to rebuild a Division I powerhouse? He did really well at North Dakota State, but is he ready to come to Nebraska and start from ground zero? I have to assume no. That's, 65 isn't the younger, fresher energy that Trev was looking for, in my opinion. So I wouldn't think he spoke to Craig Bull. No. Pinky says, ever been to a Kansas City game? Yeah, I went to the Kansas City game 2 days before Nebraska OU this year. They played against the Chargers. I think they won. And then I went to Kansas City last year, the day after I went to the Arkansas-Mississippi State game. Kansas City played the Packers, and Jordan Love was playing quarterback, and I think Kansas City won that as well. So I've been to 2 Chief games. Awesome experience. I really enjoy it. Jose says, I miss playing Kansas. How are their fans? I'm going to transition really quick to talk about Kansas. Tonight, I bet on Kansas. It was painful. Painful to watch this game in the beginning. But I had 2.5 points. So I felt pretty damn good at the end. Kansas started off down like 31-13. I thought the game was over. I couldn't watch it. I was so pissed off at my bet. I couldn't watch it. They were down 24-7 in the first quarter. Anyway, I was, what's the right word? Infuriated. I was making my video. I had the remote right here. I'm literally writing the video right here. I just turned the TV off, ignored it. Didn't think anything of it. Thought my bet was washed. My friend calls me. Did you see the onside kick? I'm like, what onside kick? He said, Kansas just got the onside kick back with a minute left. They're down 8 points. I'm like, oh, well, that's awesome. I'm like, they're not going to win the game, but that's crazy. I'll turn it on. Turn the game on. Kansas drives 40 yards, scores a touchdown, gets the 2-point conversion, and they tie it up to go to overtime. They were down 25 points or something at one point. It's insanity. They scored 15 or 18 in the fourth quarter. It was crazy. Anyway, triple overtime. They end up losing on a 2-point conversion. Lost by 2. I won my bet, but quite the game. It was incredible. Speaking of bets, really quick, let me shout out our sponsor, BroThrow. So I've had a choppy last few weeks. I'm down like, this isn't my accurate number because I've been making some bets for some friends who I owed money to. But anyway, I'm right now positive by a little bit on the season. I won on Kansas. I have Texas Tech right now, which I'm going to win on. 2 units. That's good. But here, on BroThrow, if you want to sign up to be a member of our group, it's free. So here's how it works. I'm going to keep it very simple. Quick ad. You go to brothrow.com/GBR. You can make bets just like you do on FanDuel or any of the other sites you use, except on this website, there is no VIG. And because there's no VIG, you end up making more money on your bets. It's a no-brainer to use this. I stopped using every site I use because you make more money on BroThrow. No-brainer. Okay. The second thing is, you can use PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. You never have to make a deposit. This is a peer-to-peer site. So if you take a bet, you take it from someone else on here and you guys just pay each other directly. BroThrow's not involved. So there's no deposit and all that. If you sign up for a free account, you can bet up to $150 per day. And you can be a part of our Corn Craze group. So here's our group. You go in here. Here's all the members. I mean, there's 770. And to get in again, it's brothrow.com/GBR. The link's in the description. Then I can see all the bets from our group, or I can just go to regular bets, and I can see all the bets from everyone on the site, and I can take whatever I want. I'm going to tell you some of my bets right now that I love. I love Washington +3. Bijan Robinson is not playing for Texas. The quarterback Michael Penix from Washington is coming back next year. I got Washington at 3.5, 4, and I took a money line. I love them in this spot. I like Maryland here. I don't know about these other games. I like Ohio. Anyway, there's some games coming up that I'm going to bet on. I'm taking Kentucky. But I've had a choppy up and down bowl season. But now that we're out of the games that were kind of a joke, the, what do you call those? The non-power fives, things are going to get more exciting and my picks are going to get a little bit more locked in and I'm going to win some more money. So I'm excited about it. Anyway, again, the code's brothrow.com/GBR and that gets you into the Corn Craze group. If you do want to become a member, it's $15 a month. You get more features. So you can go here and see your performance. I can see all my bets. I've won. I'm net positive here, net negative there. I can see my overall wins. I can see the teams I'm betting on. Anyway, it's pretty great. So, yeah, I'm a member for $15 a month for obvious reasons. It's way better than using any of the other sites. So, I make a lot more money on BroThrow than I would on a sportsbook. Anyway, Texas Tech's cruising. I took them tonight. I'm not sure. What are you guys most excited about? What's the game you want to watch, or the bowl game you want to watch the most? And who do you think's going to win? I mean, who are you rooting for? Because it's tough to be a Nebraska fan and not be in a bowl game. Colby says, what's your take on the 24 hours thing? Just a hype phrase for the 2024 class, or is it a countdown for something? No, it's just a hype phrase for the class. That's like the slogan, the motto. So, yeah, it's not a countdown. We're not going to learn anything from that. It's just, it's going to be on all the Instagram pictures for the next year, for 2024. Because they're really trying to hype that class up. They want to make sure that the 2024 class is huge, because they want to get a guy like Dylan or somebody big, you know? Anyway. Let's see. Husker JPEG says Bull was released by Solich. Pelini replaced Bull. That's what it was. But I don't think I said it, I don't think I said anything about that. But yes, that is exactly what happened. There's a lot of people who say they're going to the Colorado game. Tom says he's been to a KU fan, or to a KU game, and the fans were fine. I've never had an interest to go to KU. I went to Kansas to hang out and party when I was like in my early 20s. So I went and walked over to the stadium. It's a nice stadium, and the campus is really cool. But I've never been to a game there. I don't really have any interest. I would rather go to Kansas State. That would be fun. Here we go. Here's the game people are excited for. People are excited for Ohio State. Georgia. Declan's he's calling Kansas State over Alabama. That's what he wants. Wise Pine's excited for Kansas State, Alabama. I've got to be honest, my favorite's probably Kansas State, Alabama as well, and I'm pulling for Kansas State. Judy wants Michigan. Okay, I'd prefer to see Michigan win the playoff and play for the national championship against Georgia. I think seeing that rematch would be incredible, especially being there in person to watch it. I'd be very excited. K-State, Bama, Michigan, TCU. Most people are on K-State, Bama. That's the one they want to see. Tyler says he wants to see Tennessee win. Have you guys been playing Bowl Mania? We've got a Bowl Mania group. So if you are playing Bowl Mania, here's what my picks have been. Our Bowl Mania group is for merch. So whoever wins gets free merch. It's all Corn Craze people in here. I know some of you are in it. Right now, the number one is the Drap Fathers. Ron Big Red is number 2, and TJ Picks is number 3. I'm number 51. I'm getting smoked over here, okay? I've lost some big games. I've got Oregon right now, and they might lose outright. Stupid Oregon. Don't know how they're losing to North Carolina when North Carolina doesn't even have their 2 starting corners. I lost on Jackson State. That was a lot of points. Ugh, it's been ugly. UTSA for 26. SMU for 24. Texas Tech will help me out, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not in it for the merch, so I'd rather have someone else win. Guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, Oregon's at the 6-yard line. It says it's 4th and 2. I don't even have it turned on. Oh, Oregon just scored. So Oregon's going to end up winning this game by 1 point. Wow. Colby says that Georgia's in a league of its own. No other team is close. It kind of feels like Alabama back a few years ago, when they were just so dominant and no one could compete with them. It's not fun for me. I prefer when there's a lot of teams who can compete and make it fun and you never know who's going to win. That's the one good thing about the transfer portal, because there's so much parity every year now. Anyone can win. Like Max Duggan, representing for Council Bluffs. Max Duggan has TCU in the playoff. Like, who would have thought? That's exciting. So anyway. All right, guys. Well, here's the situation. I'm going to Oklahoma tomorrow. And Jose, yes, we definitely saw the Arkansas-Kansas game. I think everybody watched that ending. That was amazing. I'm going to Oklahoma tomorrow. I will be gone until the 2nd. If there's any news that comes out in that time, I'll make an impromptu video. I promise you, I won't miss any breaking news. But I think it's going to be pretty chill. Once I get back, I've got a list of content I got to make. I got to do some recruiting stuff. I got to talk about transfers, ranking them from other schools, and everything else. If you haven't had a chance to watch my coach ranking video, that's on YouTube now. I put it up right before this video started. I have the merch website up right now. I'm taking that down in January. So if you want to get any last minute merch, stickers, wristbands, get it now because that will be done for, months, 9 months or something. The discount code for merch is GBR. You can enter that at checkout. I've got a few t-shirts left. I've got some hoodies left, the stickers, whatever. Anyway, with all of that said, I'm going to get out of here because I got to pack for my flight in the morning. But thank you guys for making 2023 great. I mean, you made it amazing. I had never thought that I would be able to make at least a part-time living off of YouTube and off of something I was so passionate about. Nebraska football is something I've loved, as you guys know, for my entire life. And for me to be able to talk about it, make money from it, and invest so much time into it and building a community of other people who love it as much as I do has been a dream come true. Dead ass. Like, I'm doing it for money to be able to support myself, but there's a lot of other things I could do to make a lot more money. This has been more of a passion project, and the money's just been able to keep me alive so I can continue to do it, right? Anyway, the point is, I don't know what my future holds. I don't know how long I'll be running corn crazes or how long I'll be able to make these videos and be able to afford to do it. What I do know is, this year has been incredible for me. So the only reason it's been so great is because of you guys, and I wouldn't be here without you watching it. Anyway, with all of that said, I'm going to get out of here and go pack. I'm going to definitely be doing live streams in January, so we'll have more times to connect. And yeah, the content's going to continue on. So thank you for being here. I will see you in the next one. Go Big Red.